Hey everybody, it's Cubmaster Chris. Welcome back to another episode of Corona Cub Scout Corner. Today we're in the wood shop. We're going to be talking about tools, different kinds of hand tools, different variations of them. All right, but the first thing we should talk about before we get into anything in the shop is safety, right? Please don't touch anything unless I tell you to. Oh, that's right, you're not here. All right, so the first thing is one, eye protection, right? We should always have eye protection. The second is, if you're in a shop or around tools with any other adult, make sure you listen to their safety rules. What else might we need? Maybe. It's going to depend on what exactly we're doing, right? If we're just putting in a nail in something, probably a pair of safety glasses, maybe gloves, up to you, is fine. If we're sanding our pine wood derby car, probably going to want to get the dust mask out, right? Because we do not want to be breathing in sawdust, okay? And gloves, whenever they're necessary, right? That's kind of up to you when you use the gloves. Let's be safe and think about what we're doing before we do it. Tools. Let's start with the oldest tool. Do you know what the oldest tool is? Let's think about this. Bunch of cavemen sitting around the fire. Billy has a coconut. Doesn't know how to open it. Johnny said, I got a rock right here. You want to try it? Billy says, sure. Conk, conk. We have coconut. There was the first tool, wasn't it? It was a tool. Doesn't necessarily have to be a tool that you buy at the store, does it? But it's a tool. It's using something for different than its intended purpose, to do something like open a coconut. Pretty cool, right? So let's go over hammers first. But there are so many different types of hammers. So many hammers. So many. How do we know which one to use? It's easy. This one here is your standard. This is a claw hammer. It's like a 16-ounce claw hammer. This is your standard for putting in small nails, not tiny nails, but small, medium nails, and for removing nails, okay? This is not used to dig in the ground. This is not used as a hatchet. This is a hammer to put in nails and remove nails, okay? Now, its big brother is this one. This is a framing hammer. This is not made to put small and medium nails with. This is made to put big nails in. This has a much larger head, a much more weight behind it, so it has a harder hit than this one, okay? What other kinds of hammer do we have? That one's kind of cool. What kind of nails that put in? That does not put nails in. This is called a brick hammer. This one is for chipping off brick, okay? Brick hammer, not nails. There is no way to pull any nails out of it. Okay, so that's a brick hammer. Everybody's seen these, right? Yep, that's right. It's rubber. It's a rubber hammer, right? It's rubber mallet. Okay. Now, what is this one? They do similar things. These are used when you don't want to mar something generally, right? You don't want to mar your wood. You want to tap your wood over, but you don't want to mar it. Use a rubber hammer. Bad part about the rubber hammer, it does have a bounce to it. Okay, so it's hard not to bounce it. Okay. The dead blow, however, if you listen, it's got shot in it. It's steel shot. It's like steel sand. And there's a little tube inside there. So what happens when you hit that hammer and it hits something, all the sand travels from the back to the front. Like that, stops that hammer from bouncing. So watch when I hit this one. Hear the difference in the sound? Okay, big difference. Then I also have out here a 3-pound muff. What's this for? This is for putting nails in, right? Absolutely not. You will smash your fingers. This is more for, you could use it for putting in a stake, okay? Put a big stake in the ground, all right? Something like that. What do you want to go over next? Screwdrivers it is. Okay, so there's a couple different kinds of screwdrivers. There's probably two major ones that you're going to really use right now, and that is this one and this one, okay? Any ideas on what the difference is? This one is an older style. We still have them around though. This one is a semi-newer style, okay? This is called a Phillips, because you'll see the end of it. I'll get a good angle now. Yeah, you see how the end of it actually goes to a cross, X, right? More X than a cross, sorry. Goes to an X, okay? So when you put that inside, yeah, okay? Here's the thing. When you put a screw in, you don't want to put down just as much force as you can to try to put it in, right? Bad idea. So what you do is you put a little force down because your fingers are going to be underneath of this. And if you put too much force on it, it's going to slip off and it's going to cut you. So nice light pressure and turn it clockwise. Clockwise tightens. Remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey. So the right, turn to the right clockwise, tightens. If you turn it to the left, it loosens it. Exactly. So it's going to be the same way with your flathead. The flathead is righty tighty, lefty loosey. This is not a pry bar. This is not a chisel. This is a screwdriver. We have to use our tools for the right purpose. Just like the Weeblos, when we learned about our pocket knife, we learned it as a tool and it is only for specific purposes. Same as screwdrivers, okay? Okay, so there's flathead, there's a Phillips. There's also, you may find star bits, squares, Allen heads. But the most popular, like I said, are Phillips and flathead. So let's talk about pliers quick. We'll call them pliers. What kind of pliers? So many different kinds of pliers. What do we do with them all? I don't know. Which one do I need? Depends on your application, right? Okay, so it depends what you're doing with them. These ones, very popular. They've been popular forever. Anybody know what they are? So electricians use these a lot. I mean, I use these a lot. I do a little bit of everything. These are called needle nose pliers. And it's not that they go to a needle point, but they go to more of a point than, say, your standard slip joint pliers, right? So these ones don't go to a point, okay? See the difference? These are for grabbing smaller things. They also, in the middle, have this little hole right here. And on the other side, there's this little deal here. And what happens is that is made to cut a wire. You can also strip a wire off, but it's made for cutting wires, right? Okay. So let's go back to these. These are the slip jaw pliers. Kind of cool, right? Kind of cool. Those are your standard pliers. Then we have these. Most people like to call these channel locks. These are not channel locks, however. Actually, they're called adjustable wrench. It's an adjustable wrench or water pump pliers, whichever way you want. These are handy for getting off rusted, stuck bolts a lot of times. These have a lot of different uses. These are one of the handiest tools I think I have. I'd have to say this is probably my favorite, actually. And I have many different sizes in those. So pliers come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. You know, there's for whatever you want. There's duckbill ones, you know. These are good for doing jewelry and things like that also. So there's so many different kinds of pliers. All right, so I'll do one more thing. So let's talk about tape measures. Everybody knows what tape measures are. And I'll guarantee you in one of my later lessons, we're going to talk about reading a tape measure, okay? So tape measure is super important, right? Super important. Now, if you don't know how to read those little lines, there are ones that you can buy. Let's see if I can put it up there. Then what's it upside down? They have the markings in between if you need. Okay, that gives you down to 8s. Makes it easier for some people. I prefer this kind. Just as easy for me to read this, and after you get used to it, it's just second nature. Okay, let's go over a couple more things, I guess. So this thing here. This is a knife, essentially, isn't it? You see these everywhere. I know your parents have them. You see them laying around. This is, some people call it a box cutter or utility knife. It's every bit as dangerous as a knife, isn't it? Okay, so if you do not have your whittling chip, we should not even touch one of these. These blades are super sharp. They can cut you in a minute. They're used for cutting cardboard, cutting tape, maybe cutting a light gauge wood, maybe a Luan or something like that. Sheetrock, things like that, right? They're very handy to have. That's another tool that I like to have in my toolbox, along with my carpenter's pencil. Who can't forget that? Okay, so we're out of time for today. So come back tomorrow and we'll talk about some more tools. Till then, be safe, stay healthy, and stay home.